Hi, my name is Reese from the Eastern Suburbs School of Music. Just wanted to explain the difference between learning a guitar compared to this instrument, the bass guitar. Bass guitar is an amazing instrument, very unique in what it gets to do in the role of a band and very important to a band setting. Compared to a guitar, there is only 4 strings to the bass. It is in the same tuning as the 4 thicker strings that you do see on a guitar. So sometimes it's quite easy for guitar players to pick up a bass and at least recognize where the notes are. The difference in playing though is very important to understand. Where a guitarist will play a bunch of strings together in order to play a chord, most of the time what a bass player is doing is just playing one single note at a time. That doesn't make it a boring instrument to learn though. It's very intellectual almost, this instrument. There's several ways that you can create a bass line, for example. Bass players get to be a lot more creative than what guitarists generally do playing throughout the song. They can make up and invent their own lines and patterns. Ways to do that, for example, you might just stick with the letter name that the chord is named after, which would be called playing a root note bass line. This is the easiest type of bass playing to do, where you just hold down one note and play along with the chords. And there are several songs that use bass lines like that. If I think of With or Without You, a lot of U2 stuff sticks on root notes. Or Every Breath You Take is another one. A lot of AC/DC bass playing is just based on root note playing and playing what we call 8 notes to a bar, a quaver rhythm, which you can find out about in lessons. The next level of creating a bass line, you might start to add what we call a root and a fifth. The fifth refers to your scales. So you'd come along to bass lessons, possibly learn a little bit about scales, but the best way to characterize the root fifth bass line is think of country music and your old country western type style, in particular say your Johnny Cash, Folsom Prison Blues style. Root fifth, root fifth. Heard in this style of music, country, but it's also used to create bass lines in rock music, jazz, you name it. A little bit of a jazz feel there using your root fifth line. Where guitar just crunches away on the same chord over and over again, bass can start to use the scales in a much more creative way. The next addition would be your root, your fifth, and then what we would call an octave. And bass lines or songs that use a root fifth octave bass line, the one I can think of is Hotel California by the Eagles. Root, fifth, and then the octave. To find out what an octave means, book into bass lessons. And is an instant way for a bass player to start to get a little bit more creative than just playing simple root notes. They can start to add those notes into their bass lines and start to get a bit more creative, while the guitar player is just chugging away on the one chord the whole time. The bass player can start to move around a little bit. Finally is making more full and proper use of scales, so starting to get a bit more advanced with your bass lines now, where you might find you start to hear that concept of what we call walking bass lines. You might hear it in blues tunes. You might hear it in jazz tunes. Using the scale, and once again, while the other players in the band just are staying on the one chord, you can be what we now call quite melodic, using lots of melody, lots of notes out of a scale in order to create a bass line. So those are ways and methods that learning bass is a totally different instrument to learning guitar. Essential to any band. It bridges together the drums with the chord players. No other instrument in the band gets to do that. Be part rhythm section and as well part of the harmony section as well, the chords and the melodies that are going on. If you've ever wanted to learn an instrument, bass guitar might be the one for you. It's a little bit easier to get started on than playing a guitar, and I think it's a wonderful and amazing instrument to learn. Not enough people pick it up. If you'd like to book for lessons with us at the Eastern Suburbs School of Music, visit our website www.essm.net.au or give me a call, Reese, the owner of this wonderful music school, the Eastern Suburbs School of Music. Go pick up a bass and start learning today.